to the Outpost Podcast, where, I'm sure you know by now, our mission is to shine a light into our community, to signal to them to come and find refuge here, find formation in the wisdom that we're sharing through these conversations, and to ultimately be sent back into the world better than what they came in. Today, I have a very special guest. I'm very excited about my guest today. He's no stranger to the Northminster community. You probably see him almost every Sunday, up preaching, maybe, bringing cornbread to the sermon or some sort of food item. Maybe he's standing up on a plank, causing everyone a bunch of anxiety and heart attacks in the congregation. But man, he's a fun guy, and I'm honored to know him. I'm honored to serve beside him in God's kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to some and introduce to others, Greg Kennedy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Maybe you can say that every day to me.
Which part? The part about causing people anxiety, or the part about
all of it? All of it. I like all of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, like I said, I don't really have a plan for how we're going to get into our conversation today. We typically start this thing off just by asking a simple question. What are you finding refuge in right now? Where are you finding joy and refuge?
This won't surprise anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I love being in my garage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, working on the kayak.
I often will start the day there. Before I come to work, I'll get one little part of the project done, and it's shaping up and just creating something. It feels good, and maybe it'll be better than people think.
What's been the general vibe that people are putting off about your kayak?
Oh, they wonder if it'll float. In fact, I think there's a betting pool.
Okay.
And I think most people are betting against flotation.
Man, okay. Well, in all fairness, I've seen the kayak. I feel like by the time you finish, it will float for sure. That's just me.
So if there is a pool, you feel that way enough that you could put $10 down?
I'd put $10 on it.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that means a lot to me.
Listen, I have faith, man. I believe in you, man. Like I said, I've seen it. It looks great. It looks amazing. So I'm betting that it will. Yeah, man, that's awesome. I think I'm the same way. Mm-hmm. I'm very much so, like, if I'm putting my hands towards something, like, I feel a lot of joy about that. Right now, I think I'm kind of like getting into like this whole landscaping thing, like around the house and stuff. Like, and I heard you guys talk about that a little bit at your house as well. Like, just, I don't know, it's like getting my hands dirty, but then also too, like, when you see the finished product, it's like, I did that. Like, it just, I don't know, it just does something for you,
And then with landscaping, God's at work too. Once you plant something.
Yeah. No, it's real.
You don't cause the growth. But,
that's right.
And things will surprise you.
That's very fair. We've had a fair amount of that already. We bought our house, I think, in January. And man, it's just been, we did not know. We weren't aware of all the surprises that we would get.
You need a full-time therapist after you've bought your first house.
It's true. You're in for it.
And it can create some conflict.
Yes,
some
for sure.
Disagreement.
Yeah. I've made the smart decision and telling my wife, I'm like, hey, you just, whatever you want to do.
We'll just do it. That's the way to go. That's the way of wisdom.
Just trying to keep the peace, man. That's all. Well, I kind of want to get into a little bit of your background, man. For people who maybe don't know you as well, whatever you're comfortable with sharing, give us the Cliff Notes version of your background.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was raised in an awesome family. Mm-hmm. I won the lottery with my family.
That's awesome.
And But I was an awkward kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, junior high and high school, awkward doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we were talking about this earlier. I rarely had the experience of fitting in.
Mm-hmm.
It just was not easy until I got to college, and I had things in my life that would hold me up in a good way, support me. Family was a big one. I wasn't really athletic, but my neighbor was a wrestler. His father was a coach. And so from like third grade on, I was part of a wrestling team. And it was good until I got hurt and had the doctor said I couldn't wrestle anymore. And I felt like I kind of lost everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And, it's that one really good thing in my life that wasn't dependent on family. Your mom, your dad. If you're blessed to have a mom and dad who really love you, you can still say, well, that's their job. They have to love me. They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But wrestling that was something that I could control. And, but it was, taken away and I became pretty angry. And there, of course, everybody's got their stuff. And, I got my stuff too.
Yeah.
And I kind of let those incidences, those experiences shape me. And when I was probably a sophomore, making really stupid, dangerous decisions. And my sister shared her faith with me. And she's part of Young Life. Do you know Young Life?
Yeah. I know Young Life. We have one at our campus as well.
I didn't like them. All the cool kids went to Young Life.
Yeah, same at our campus as well.
But she kind of, I don't know, she probably loved me, but kind of felt like I was her project.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I was violently opposed to God, but I did not like her trying to convert me. So it was a 2-year project that I made very uncomfortable for her. And so I was a senior when I finally came to faith. And I had lost 2 friends that year to death. And I thought, my way is not really that sustainable. And I wasn't one of those people who thought it'd be cool to die before you're 35.
Yeah.
And so, I was looking for something that would help me with my sense of identity, purpose.
Yeah.
And, I ultimately was intrigued by her, even though she was perfect.
Yeah.
And I was not. And I don't know if you have brothers and sisters?
I have one brother and one sister.
Any of them perfect?
No.
I was
the perfect one, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll cut that out.
Yeah, that's well, I wasn't.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she was.
Okay.
And but I was intrigued by
Mm.
really she could have fun with her friends.
Mm.
This kind of freaked me out with no chemical help,
Yeah.
without, you know, getting beat up, you know. And I just didn't think that was possible.
Yeah. Mm.
I thought you needed help.
Yeah.
And anyway, so, I mean, really watching people have fun without, you know, drugs or alcohol was just strange to me. I mean, it was just like, I didn't know you could do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't know life could be good.
Yeah. Mm.
And so, yeah, I came to faith. I was visiting a school, her school,
Okay.
TCU, Horned Frogs. And, you know, and she set me up. I had my first Christian date.
Mm.
And I didn't know what. I just sat there, kind of like, you know, I didn't think I should put my arm around her or anything like that. You know, it scared me.
Yeah.
And you know, I was with you know, I stayed in the dorm with, you know, another Christian. I mean, I was surrounded.
Oh, wow.
But, you know, it was just the month before that I'd lost a friend to a drunk driving incident. And I just needed something less dangerous. Ironically, I don't know how to say it. I think God is safe.
Mm.
But he asks you to do crazy things that feel really dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I didn't really necessarily get what I had hoped. And then I got more than I ever dreamed of.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it was kind of funny.
That's a really interesting man, I love the way you verbalize that, because it is that, like, it is that it is very safe. It is like the best place to be. You know, to be in, you know, in the family, in the fold of God, like, but then also like to be in his will, like all those things are the safest place. And it's like you said, it's uncomfortable because now I have to do things I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And isn't it just like God, to put you in a circumstance, in a situation where, you know, he just was the best choice, you know, like to be, I guess almost like in a, just on a pathway of grace, even though you weren't even aware of it.
Yeah.
Like to be surrounded by people who all have faith, you know, the unfortunate, like, deaths of your friends. Like, I mean, just set the whole thing up.
Yeah.
And for, like you said, to accomplish something that you would have never dreamed of, like to be a lead pastor for 30 some odd years now.
Yeah.
And I mean, no telling the amount of lives you touched, the what do they call it? Like like the ripple effect almost of, like, you know, you touch this person, now this person's touched the next person, and this person's touched, like, you know, you couldn't have, like, Hollywood couldn't have made a better script. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, ultimately, it feels like a Frank Capra story. It's a Wonderful Life.
yeah.
Because I never thought I'd get married.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought, I'd move around the country like I have.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I've had the friends that I have,
Yeah.
or the experiences.
Mm-hmm.
It's all grace, even the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Not when it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I can moan and groan with anybody.
Yeah.
But I had a friend once who said, God doesn't waste anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any experience,
Mm-hmm.
any tragedy, any blessing, he doesn't waste it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably the most exciting thing is watching, in hindsight, God redeem difficult, often tragic,
Yeah.
awful situations.
Yeah.
And I know we all wish he would just create, he'd just work his puppet strings and not allow us to experience tragic situations, but he doesn't. And that would be a weird life,
Yeah.
It's not something I really would want.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I think about it.
That's fair.
But,
that's very fair.
Yeah, it's been a ride. Connie and I often talk how unusual our life has been. And like, you're right. I've had an impact on people, but it's not in the way that most people think a pastor does, because I'm just I'm just that regular follower of Christ. There's nothing. I don't think I have exceptional gifts in much of anything. I love to tell the story. And I love deep relationships.
Yeah.
And now we have friends all over the nation. I kind of laugh and say, well, if my car breaks down in South Dakota, I know who to call.
That's perfect.
And so, that's kind of, I've won the lottery with life.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really deserved it, but God's good.
God is good, man. Hearing what you said, I'm like, I agree and I don't. I agree because I'm like, absolutely, like, I sense the just the humbleness and like the you strike me as like an everyday man type of thing. Like, you don't have a lot of frills about you or anything that's like, oh, look at me, I'm a pastor, like, check me out in my 3-piece suit, like, like, it's not there's anything wrong with that, but it's just like you're very down to earth. You're very just, I mean, you're approachable, like, so I agree with you in that sense, and I think that is I don't know, man. Like, I feel like that is a gift. Like, it comes out in the way that you communicate on Sundays. It comes out in, when after service, when you're out with people talking to them, or when you're in service and you're in worship. Because, man, I tell you, I mean, I've not been alive a long time, but I've been around churches. Like I've I'm a pew baby, and my parents, like, I was born into church. And
Really?
Yeah. And with us moving around so much, and my family being in the military, that was one of the first questions we always asked before we moved anywhere. Okay, what church are we going to? So I've been to many churches, and you see the pastors where they're God, they've got all their garb on, and you don't see them until probably after worship, or like they're making a grand entrance towards the end of worship, and then they disappear into their office, and you don't see them. Everyone's gone out of the building, and they're the last one out, kind of thing. And there's not a personal connection, or another way I guess to say it would be like there's a huge kind of like a huge chasm between the front pew and the stage, and you just don't do that, and it's not to the younger people would say it's not to gas you up. It's not to like puff you up or make you, but it's to say no. Like, I think that in itself is a gift. Like, to have a certain level of empathy, and all of that stemming from your background as well. Of like, man, I've been the outcasted. I've been the one that no one wants to be around. I've been the one that's constantly getting picked on and beat up and all these things. And how all of that experience is filtered through the way that you engage with people now, the way that you share passionately now from stage, the human connection that you so like care about, like that in itself, I think is the best kind of gift. Like that, give me that every day over the person that can prophesy to me and tell me my future and tell me, what I'm saying? Like, I think that's something that God has had to give you a gift in, because I think that's. I mean, it may not be, and I don't know. You tell me. You're the Bible scholar here, but I don't think that's one of that empathy is like a spiritual gift, or that it's one of the spiritual gifts listed in the Bible. But I think that it does take, the inner working of the Holy Spirit to bring that out of a person. Like, am I right in saying that?
Oh yeah, I think. Well, in John 15 it says, it talks about abiding branches in the vine that is Jesus.
Yeah.
It says something that's probably really offensive to our culture. It says, you can do nothing without me.
Yeah.
And, I think that's right.
I agree. Yeah.
So I really think without Christ, without the vine, I lose almost everything, and I have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
Now, relationally and spiritually and even emotionally.
Yeah.
How I view myself and my purpose, and, stuff like that. But thank you for that.
Yeah.
But let's change the subject.
Does affirmation make you uncomfortable, Greg?
I think it makes everybody uncomfortable.
That's fair.
You're uncomfortable, aren't you?
It does a little bit. I think I agree with you on that. So, I mean, you bring up something that I think is a perfect segue into what I want to talk about next. Having a lot to lose. In thinking about that, and thinking about you've announced your retirement, and just I think in this past week's sermon, all of that can stir up fear, like having that realization of like, oh man, I'm so blessed that I have a lot to lose. I loved what you said about having this whole idea of like fighting fear with fear. I kind of want you to unpack that a little bit more, because I mean, I got the sentiment and I understand what you're saying, but I for someone who like me who struggles with fear a lot as well, especially being in this stage of my life with young kids, and I feel that statement very heavily of like, yeah, I have a lot to lose as well. How does someone actually fight fear with fear?
Well, Scripture uses fear in two radically different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the most common way it uses fear is just like you and I think of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Fear for our children,
Mm-hmm.
fear for our future.
Mm-hmm.
If we're walking in an unfamiliar place at night,
Mm-hmm.
that fear that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
That anxiety that's kind of always present at some level.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bible is always negative
Mm-hmm.
on, angels are saying fear not.
Yeah.
God is saying fear not.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is saying don't let your hearts be troubled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really pretty anti-fear.
Yeah.
But then there's this fear of the Lord, and that is awe, that is reverence, that is in our culture. We have attempted, I think, to domesticate God into something less than God.
Yeah.
Our buddy, the man upstairs.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot lost in that.
Mm-hmm.
God is lost in that.
Yeah.
And so in my experience, when I am focused on God as he is revealed in Scripture, not the way I want.
Yeah.
Like, I want a God that's from southwest side of Chicago who likes Texas brisket, and roots for the Horned Frogs. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But the God of Scripture is different.
Yeah.
And I think when I am focused on that big, engaged, loving, holy God, moment by moment, the fear is just... So most people would want me to say fighting fear with awe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's...
You're a pastor, man. You're a wordsmith. You gotta...
Let's say fight fear with fear.
Yeah.
But when I don't focus on, that God and worshiping that God and thanking that God and serving that God, when I don't focus on that, fear comes back like a freight train.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all I mean is, and that's why I told the story about beans. Dog hates lightning.
Yeah.
Comes up and cuddles with Connie or I.
Yeah.
There's wisdom in that. Draw near to the one you trust.
Yeah.
And when you do, the fears that are so prevalent in our culture, I just think it's almost impossible not to have an anxiety problem in our culture.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's fear-mongering.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Yes.
And there's not nearly as much reason to fear-monger as there have been at other times in the past.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I want to be a trustmonger,
Yeah.
a hope monger,
Sure.
something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just tired of our culture's, blame and shame and
Yeah.
be afraid, and it's never been worse.
Yeah.
There are always going to be tragic situations in every age.
Yeah.
And unique challenges. I think AI is both awesome. No, not awesome. AI is powerful for good, but also for really scary bad.
Yeah.
And that's unique to our time.
Yes.
And I don't know how it's going to affect our kids, for instance.
Yeah. I agree.
But we can't put that Pandora's box is open. And I don't think outside of moving to Iowa and going fully unplugged, I don't know that there's, and we're going to have to figure out how to be faithful followers of Christ in the world where, so much is possible, good and bad.
Yeah, no, it's real, man. And the crazy thing about, everything that you were talking about, and what I started kind of thinking about as I was listening to your sermon is like, there, like you said, with all the fear mongering going on, like the fear comes from like the unknown stuff. But when we think about it for real, like when we sit down and actually think about it, there are more unknowns in God than there are anything that we're going through. And so to your point, it's like it's insane to, you have the fact that yes, there have been times where there's been much more going on, much more things to fear over in past times. So it's like, okay, why are we fearing so much now? But then also when you weigh the fear of the unknown and what we're experiencing now versus how much like the infinite amount of unknowns in our God, it's like, how are we not looking at him like, oh no, like that's and not scary, but like to your point, that's something that my eyes should be focused on. Because all this stuff down here, it's like, I know enough to know, okay, like, AI is not going anywhere. I know enough to know, okay, there's a war happening or whatever. Whatever's going on. It's like, okay, there's a certain amount of unknowns in that, but I know enough, at least partially, some of what's going on. But with him, it's like, he's left us this beautiful book to get to know him more. He's left us with, community that we can, kind of talk about these things and be formed by different ideas and from different cultures and different denominations, all these different things. But even in all of that, like there's still so much that I don't know about him. Yeah. And that should immediately turn my eyes and be like, no, like this stuff's happening down here, fine. Like, and it's, maybe it's dismissive to just be like, whatever with that stuff. But, for the Christian, for the person who follows Christ, for the person who loves God, like it should be, I feel like it should be easier for us to really, follow what the word says. I think somewhere in Matthew talks about how like it tells us not to be anxious for anything because tomorrow has enough trouble of its own. Like there's no reason to dwell on all the things that are happening in the world right now.
Well, we want to be engaged, right?
Yeah.
So we want to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't want to be spectators.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I want people to dwell what's happening in the world and
Yeah.
How Christ's answers are different and how we might be a witness. Sometimes, I think about things like Sabbath and a culture of work.
Yeah.
It's kind of, sometimes I think when I take Sabbath, it's like, I'm part of a protest march, against, I don't know, 7-day-a-week work. I love work. I really like work, but it's not good when that's all we're doing. Then we're slaves.
Yeah.
We're back in Egypt.
Exactly.
But, I don't know about you, but I'm a curious soul, and I love history, and I can't turn it off, that love of history. And the more, this is cliche, but the more the more you don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I feel that way about history, which is somewhat known, right?
Yeah.
But I think we don't apply that to our relationship with God at all.
No.
We think God, we learn about God in Sunday school or in a small group but God is always talking, right? I mean, I feel like God is always yakking too loud at me. Like, I read that, that passage for Sunday was perfect love casts out all fear.
Yeah. First John.
And so I'm reading this book by George MacDonald, which is a guy who was in the 1800s. He was kind of C.S. Lewis's muse.
Oh, okay.
And
Gotcha.
And as I'm preparing that sermon, I'm reading him say, perfect faith, and I just heard that word perfect. And all of a sudden, I got perfect love. I'm studying and he's talking about perfect faith. And he talked about really hard cheese. He said, perfect faith is when you don't have the feelings, when you're not experiencing the blessings.
Yeah.
That you can still say, God, you are my only refuge.
Yeah.
And I thought, we're a very sensate culture. We want the feelings.
Yes.
But perfect faith, perfect love. I just felt like God was trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
And I'm probably learning more about life and faith now as a 64-year-old than I ever have.
Yeah.
And it's not fundamentally changing, but it's expanding.
Yeah.
It's not so much changing. It's growing bigger, and there are more facets to my understanding. And I think I haven't even dipped my little toe into all that God is and all that God wants. And in a sense, almost all that we are, we're made in his image.
Yeah.
And yet, I mean, like in junior high and in high school, I just wanted to shred the image of God.
Yeah.
And now I look at people and I'm thinking, I'm talking to someone made in the image of God, a sacred person, right now even.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool that when I look at our staff and the diversity on the staff.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much about belief, but
Mm-hmm.
man, we got a lot of different cultures, and
Yeah.
and that makes me curious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you the questions. What was your experience?
Mm-hmm.
Because I tend to think that we don't. It's not just that we don't have we're just sticking our big toe into who God is.
Yeah.
We're doing that with each other too.
Sure.
I think there's so much to know
Mm-hmm.
about each other.
Yeah.
And what makes us tick, what makes us our blood race,
Yeah.
And for most of us, it's more than Ohio State football, I'd rather talk about brisket.
Sure. Anything other than Ohio State football.
Anyway,
Oh, man.
But I don't, we only get so much time to learn, so got to use it well.
That's good. You said something, and I got to be honest with you, Greg. When I hear my older brothers and sisters in the faith say things like that, when you said the thing about
did you just call me old?
I said older brothers and sisters. I purposely didn't say old.
I know what you were saying.
I was trying to be charitable and gracious in what I was saying. Oh man, but not.
Yeah, that was a Christian compliment.
That's right.
I think they call that a backhanded compliment.
That's right. A little bit, my little older brothers, yeah, my more seasoned saints. No, but when I hear you say the things like, I've only put my big toe in my understanding of God, and on my faith journey, it's still expanding at this point. 64 years old. I had to tell you, as a 30-year-old, I get equally like fascinated and aggravated with that statement. It's
good.
It's like, man, like I because it's like, yeah, on one hand I'm like, yeah, like, absolutely, like I want to learn more. I want to grow more. I want to understand this whole journey more than what I do now. And in another sense, like there's a part of me, and maybe it's really pride and ego that's like, I just want to figure it out. Like I want to get to the place where it's like, okay, like I've arrived type thing intellectually. And yeah, man, I think it's like I said, it's a dangerous spot, to be in my head, because I get, in these places where it's like a mental cul-de-sac that I'm just spinning around. And it's the same questions. It's the same, kind of outcomes. And I'm like, okay, how do I need to get out of this? Like, it feels like a complete dead end right now, but there's another way out. And how do I get there? And be okay with the fact that some of these things I'm just not going to know on this side of heaven, and that be okay. So I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by that, and I this just speaks to your humility as a man and as a person who follows Christ. Like, man, it's really cool to hear someone almost twice my age, well, actually twice my age, say like, no, I'm still working this thing out.
Well, I see it a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, it is, the faith is so simple a child can get it. Like, one of the things I'm working at in the sermons of this Down to Earth sermon series is to say our beliefs um, don't need to be expressed in academic language.
Mm.
They're simple.
Yeah, yeah.
God is big.
Mm-hmm.
God is engaged.
Mm-hmm.
God is loving. God is holy. I mean, if you believe those things, which are not difficult words,
Mm-hmm.
it changes your life.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if you lose a job,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, so the rug's been pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with all sorts of emotions,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
how do I provide for my family?
Mm-hmm.
How do I live with this shame,
Yeah, yeah.
this failure?
Mm-hmm.
Everything, the emotions are all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I have a plan B?
Mm-hmm.
All this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you believe God is big, God is engaged, and God loves you, you don't lose it.
Yeah.
You just, that's not complicated,
Mm-hmm.
but it is so dang deep.
Yes.
I mean, when we say God is big, that's a Marianas Trench deep.
Yeah.
You know that?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think I'm not trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, one of my great purposes is to know God.
Yeah.
And I'm a better husband when I know God.
Yes.
I'm a better employee. I'm a better citizen. I'm a better everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a retreat from the world. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's because of the world that I want to know my God.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
but you think you can dive down into the depth of that simple concept,
Yeah.
and you never find the bottom.
Mm.
Like I hear this so much, and now that at 64, I've spent a lot of time reading Scripture.
Mm.
And it continues to amaze me that every time I read it, God's saying something completely consistent with what he said before, but more.
Yeah. Yes.
There are some books that you can reread.
Sure.
And some that you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got nothing else to offer.
Yes.
And you can never plumb the depths of God's word, of God, of what makes human beings sacred.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a deep pool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I'm like not waiting in it, because you can't wait in it. It's just like you said, you got to dive right into it.
And you don't have to. I mean, but how boring not to. I mean, it's like, I love scuba diving. It's my one freaky thing. Mm-hmm. And you can scuba dive in 3 feet of water.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're little hermit crabs, and there's sand.
Yeah, there's stuff to see.
And you can drive 60 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But on my sabbatical, I got to dive on a place on off of the coast of Cozumel, and it's called the Columbia Wall.
Wow.
And it's weird. You get your stomach does weird things when you look over this wall, and it just shoots down, and there are critters down there that when you're a couple feet away from a moray eel or, one of those leopard stingray kind of things that are 12, 16 feet across, or you see some wild coral. I mean, there's things to see when you go deep that you'll never see if you're just content to, with the experience of the kiddie pool.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it's great that I love that frame of mind and that framework, because it helps me in my mind to go, no, like, okay, so it's not so much that we got to figure this thing out. It's just, let's just explore.
Yeah.
Like, let's just see what's out there. Let's go deep in God and like see what's there that we can find. And there's something beautiful about that. Like, because I'm sure in your experience, like, you probably were equal parts like terrified and like amazed at what you saw, like what you found, and I think the same is true about God, that when we actually go deep, it's like when we let go of the fear, when, we let go of our pride or ego, whatever, and just say, no, I'm not attempting to figure him out. I just want to see what's there. That's when I think we actually find the beauty and get to like see him for real. Man, I've enjoyed our time, man. I want to, before we leave, I want to say a couple of things. One, the thought and the idea that when we think about our faith, when we think about our beliefs surrounding our faith, that they should be simple, that they shouldn't be too intellectual, is gold to me. Also, on the other hand, I hear you saying that there will be a time on everyone's faith journey where they will not experience the emotions that they want to experience when it comes to God, that they may experience a kind of like a silent season, maybe, where God feels distant, because that tends to be the mode that he uses to grow us and to mature us in the faith. I'm willing to bet that there are a lot of people who probably find themselves in that place right now of like, man, I've been on this faith journey. I've been trying to figure it out. I'm frustrated because I don't feel like I hear him. I feel like, the fire that I once had when I first came to him is not there. Man, I would be interested in just what would you say to that person? Normally we tend to end this thing out on a, hey, what's God teaching you? I want to do something different with you because you're a pastor, and I think you got something to say to that. What would you say to the person who is in the middle of that season of I don't feel God and I want to feel him, and they're on the verge of giving up? What would you say to them?
Well, first I'd want to dive into, I want to know them.
Mm-hmm.
What they have felt or think they should feel.
Mm-hmm.
Dry times, they're probably more common than exciting, light bulb, emotional.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 80% of our life is,
Yeah.
and it's true in all our relationships, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when I got to know Connie for the first time, we could talk for, I don't know, hours and hours and hours and never get tired.
Yeah.
And now Connie asked me, how'd session meeting go? Good. She loves me.
Yeah.
even when I give her so little to work with.
Yeah.
And there's something really powerful in love when there's no sparks. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it's it's commitment, it's gritty, it's and I think the same is true in our relationship with God. And I think that's what George MacDonald was saying is perfect faith isn't about, the feelings.
Yeah.
It's not about, it's about this committed, rock solid anchor belief that God is our refuge, our only refuge.
Yeah.
And in a sense, I'd say, welcome to the church. To say there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're all on that road, and I think there's the opportunity for something really beautiful that comes out of the desert.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorite pieces of art that my wife did, she does mosaics, and she did one, and I don't know what her intent was. She says this was her intent, and I know I just kind of co-opted it and decided I was the one to decide the meaning of the art.
Yeah.
But I called the piece "Flowers in the Desert."
Wow.
And this year, they had a super bloom in the Death Valley.
That's right. Yeah.
And when you see something beautiful in the desert, you notice it.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot to like.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
It's hot.
Yeah. It's dry.
You're thirsty all the time. You got sand and rocks in your shoe. And then all of a sudden you see a super bloom or even one beautiful flower. And that's my favorite piece of her art because it's so honest.
Yeah.
It doesn't say the desert doesn't exist. But it's also so hopeful.
Yeah.
Because we get to find the flowers in the desert.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know there are times when the dry season is years and years and years. And I don't want to, say that's not painful.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But when we're relying on feelings, we do stupid things like we isolate.
Yeah.
When we think something's terribly wrong with us because we're not feeling God's presence, we stay away from worship and the community that just make us feel worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
or we deconstruct our faith altogether.
Yeah,
Just
that's the only way.
Throw it all away. Yeah.
Which is really, I'm trying to think what they call that. That's cruel irony.
Yeah.
That we're already having a difficult time. And we deconstruct the very thing that could help us survive.
Yeah.
And so not only do we have the experience of the desert, but we lost our map or our compass or, whatever it is that is going to help us, our guide.
Yeah.
I think the dryness thing is prevalent, common. Wilderness experience, desert experience. You could use whatever metaphor you want to describe it. It's scary. It's disorienting. You often lose a sense of identity, a sense of confidence, a sense of even hope. But God's in the desert.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's where he takes his people.
Mm-hmm.
We want the milk and honey, right?
Give me the promise. I don't want the. Yeah. Sure.
And, you know, it's. But the beautiful thing about, you know, someone identifying a dry period and wanting to talk to someone about it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that in itself is hopeful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Don't do it alone is what I'd, you know, that would be a big part of what I want to say, you know.
Yeah.
Stay connected.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's common. It's not cancer. It's the common cold. And
that's good.
Anyway,
that's good.
Rambling.
No, that's a good word, man. And on that, we're gonna send you with that. And if you find yourself in a season right now that's dry, that feels hopeless, where you feel like you don't feel God, and you're dealing with the guilt and shame that comes with that, please don't give up. Stay in it. Don't do it alone. Like Greg said, he painted a beautiful picture. There is beauty in the desert, man. And sometimes it's just about staying and sticking it out long enough to find it. Our God is big. Our God is engaged. Our God is faithful. And he loves you. And, man, I hope that encourages you today. I hope it does. Man, I feel full from this conversation. We'll definitely have to do this more before you.
Anytime.
Before you retire, we got to sit down and do this a lot more often. But yeah, thank you guys for your time and for your attention. Until next time, we'll see you.
Take care.